Hey guys, it's Kane from Kane's Trains here, coming at you from Maryborough Railway Station, about 224 kilometres outside of Melbourne in Victoria, Australia, on the Mildura Railway line. Now, before I get into today's video, I'd just like to really quickly say thank you to the positive response and the feedback to the last video on Mount Barker Junction Railway Station. It was very kind of you all. And for today's video, why not comment below if you've had COVID and how you found that? I recently, of course, as I am here, was in Victoria and caught COVID. And that knocked me out, and the fatigue that I felt afterwards, muscle fatigue, brain fatigue, was quite unreal. So comment below your experience with COVID. Now, Maryborough Railway Station opened in 1874, and then this building here you see behind me opened in 1890, built by the Swanston Builders of St Kilda in Melbourne and designed by the Victorian Railways architects. Now, at the time of this station being built, it was a very important junction. Of course, you've got all the sidings and the facilities in Maryborough, but it had tracks branching off to Castlemaine as well as Avoca and later Ararat. Now, the section through to Castlemaine opened in 1874, but over time didn't really see the passenger or freight numbers that a busy, bustling line should, and passenger traffic was ceased in 1977, and later the line itself was closed in 2004. Now, the line in its entirety isn't completely closed. There's a small section outside of Castlemaine, which is used by the Victorian Goldfields Railway, before they branch off to their own Castlemaine to Maldon line. Now, the Maryborough to Avoca line opened in 1874, and that was later extended through to Ararat in 1890. Then the line was closed in 1959 and then reopened in 1966, and then the Avoca to Ararat section was standardised in 1996. Now, the section through Maryborough to Avoca didn't receive standardisation or upgrades until much later in 2017-2018, turning Maryborough into a dual gauge yard with broad gauge tracks from Melbourne and Ballarat, and then standard gauge tracks coming from Avoca Ararat. Now, station itself has received changes as well over the years. I guess the most significant one would be the level crossing on the Pyrenees Highway was converted into a road underpass in 1967, and then around that time in 1969 the level crossing on the Inkerman Street side of the yard lost its interlocked gates and had them replaced with modern day boom gates. Now, through that time, of course, many changes would have occurred. Sidings removed, the dock platforms at either end of the platform would have been removed, as well as signal changes and such. And eventually the station itself was closed in 1993 when coaches took over the service through to Mildura. And the station itself sat pretty dormant for a significant number of years until 2006, when the whole thing was going to receive a facelift, which took a number of years, but also was timed really well with the state government's plans to reopen the station, which they did in 2010 to passenger traffic. So even today you can still catch a train from Maryborough to Ballarat and Melbourne if you so choose. Now, to the point of today's video, was Maryborough Railway Station built in the wrong town? Now, yeah, it's huge, it's massive, this building. It's an absolute striking feature when you see it. Now, was it meant to be here? Two answers. Short one, yes. Now, despite the rumours that this station was meant for Spencer Street in Melbourne, or perhaps the even wilder rumour that it was meant for Maryborough in Queensland, it was meant to be here. The short answer is yes, this is the home of this station. At the time that it was built, it was seen that Maryborough would be a big, booming town. It was an important railway junction. The gold era was booming. There was a lot of work here for railway employees. It was seen that it would continue to grow and boom. But it didn't. Which leads us into the long answer. Was this station meant to be here? You could say no. But hear me out. It was meant for a big town. It was meant for a town that would boom, that would have many significant rail changes over the years. But unlike Bendigo and Ballarat, which in these days have well over 100,000 people each in them, Maryborough barely hits 8,000 people. So, in a long answer, you could say no, it wasn't meant to be here. It was meant to be in a much bigger town. But Maryborough never quite got there. That's not to say that 30 years from now, Maryborough itself might reach 50,000 people. I hope it does. It's a beautiful town, but at the time of filming this video, it just hasn't gotten there yet. Now, station itself, well worth a visit. The architecture is absolutely stunning. The skylight on the platform veranda completely transforms what would otherwise be a dark, sort of yucky, dingy platform. And the station itself today, despite having many empty rooms and halls, does itself have a lovely information centre with nice information as well as souvenirs and books and such, as well as a really good cafe. I actually had a pretty good coffee there as well as a nice meal on the morning I was there. So yeah, that's today's video on Maryborough Railway Station in the Goldfields of Victoria. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed today's video, and comment below if you've had COVID and how you found it. And you know what, if you're one of those lucky people that have dodged COVID, I envy you. Thank you so much for watching.